The boy stood under the blinding stage lights, his small hands trembling as they gripped the microphone. His shirt was too big, his shoes worn down, and his eyes carried the weight of 1,000 untold struggles. The judges looked at him with polite curiosity, but the audience whispered doubts. What could a boy like this possibly bring to a stage where dreams were usually polished, rehearsed, and glamorous? The moment was heavy, filled with silence, but then he spoke in a voice that cracked with both fear and determination. "This is for my mother, who always believed I could sing, even when life told us otherwise." He was from a small fishing village in the Philippines, where poverty wasn't just a condition, it was the air they breathed every day. His father had left when he was young, and his mother worked endlessly to feed him and his 2 younger sisters. There were nights when dinner was nothing more than rice and salt, and mornings when school felt impossible because of the long walk barefoot on gravel roads. But through it all, one thing gave him comfort: music. His mother would hum old classics while washing clothes by hand, and the boy would mimic every note, dreaming of stages he had never seen. The day he decided to audition was a leap of faith. They had no money for travel, so neighbors pooled together coins to buy his bus ticket. His mother sold her only piece of jewelry, a necklace she had worn since her wedding day, to help him get there. "Don't think about winning, Anak," she told him, using the Tagalog word for my child. "Just sing with your heart. That will be enough." Her words echoed in his mind as he stood before the judges, staring at the audience that seemed so far away from the world he knew. The music began, the haunting chords of Hotel California. For a moment, doubt crept into his chest, threatening to choke him. But then he remembered the nights he sang this very song under the stars, with his sisters asleep beside him, their bellies empty yet their hearts soothed by his voice. He closed his eyes and let the words flow, every note carrying not just sound but soul. His voice wasn't perfect, it was raw, trembling, but it was real. It held pain, longing, and hope so deep that it silenced the entire hall. One judge leaned forward, her hand covering her mouth in shock. The audience, once skeptical, now sat frozen, their hearts pulled into his story with every lyric. As the chorus rose, his voice cracked, but instead of weakness, it sounded like truth, like a boy who had lived more in his few years than many did in a lifetime. Some audience members began to cry, tears streaming silently as they felt the weight of his journey. When he hit the final note, the hall erupted. People jumped to their feet, clapping, cheering, crying. The boy lowered the microphone, his eyes wide, chest heaving. He had given everything, every ounce of pain and love he carried inside. But what happened next was beyond anything he, or his mother back home, could have imagined. The head judge stood up slowly, her eyes shining with tears. She didn't say a word at first, only reached forward and slammed her hand on the golden buzzer. Confetti rained down, golden and bright, as the boy's small figure disappeared under the shower of light. His hands went to his face, overwhelmed, shaking his head in disbelief. The audience roared louder, chanting his name, while the judges rushed to the stage to hug him. In that moment, he wasn't the poor boy from a forgotten fishing village. He wasn't the child who walked barefoot to school, or the son of a mother who sacrificed everything. He was a star, seen, celebrated, and loved. Backstage, when reporters asked him how he felt, he didn't talk about winning or fame. Instead, with tears in his eyes, he said softly, "I just wanted my mother to know, her sacrifices weren't wasted." That night, the video of his performance spread like wildfire across the internet. People around the world shared his story, not just because of his voice, but because of the hope he carried within it. Donations poured in for his family. His mother, watching from their small home on a borrowed TV, wept uncontrollably, clutching her daughters as they cried with joy. For the first time in years, their little house was filled not with worry, but with dreams. But beyond the fame, beyond the lights and the confetti, his journey carried a message that burned brighter than any golden buzzer. It reminded the world that talent is not born in privilege, it is born in struggle, in sacrifice, in love. That sometimes, the most powerful voices come from the places we least expect. And for that poor Filipino boy, the stage was no longer a dream. It was proof that even in the darkest nights, hope can sing louder than fear, and sometimes, just sometimes, that song can change the world.